Welcome to the Mike Finch Show, first segment of the Spotlight. And of course, I had to bring in my man, one of my great friends from Illinois, Mr. Motaz Askar. Motaz, good to see you, dude.
My man, Mikey, thank you for having me on, bro. You're the man. You already know I got a lot of love for you. So I appreciate you having me on.
Of course, man. We used to work together at UFC Gym Oaklawn. We used to train together a little bit. I've been able to
100%.
commentate some of your fights. So
Yeah,
I feel like
don't forget, you commentated my fight before we even met, my first amateur fight.
Good point. Good point. Yeah. I was rooting against you, bro. You were fighting a guy from my high school.
I know. And then when I met you, you didn't even know. And I told you, like, oh, you're that guy. I'm like, we're gonna be good friends.
Yes.
And now we are,
Yeah, for sure. I feel like nowadays I'm your hype man, Motaz. Like,
yeah, you're my boy.
We're gonna sell every one of your fights, bro. I don't care what organization. I don't care where we're at in life.
100%.
Every Motaz fight, I'm selling it to the public. So let's sell this one. To everybody's knowledge, you are on the LFA card fighting Garrett Sharp on Saturday. True?
So it was true, but he actually pulled out. I found out a few days ago, but apparently it was a few weeks. They were trying not to tell me so they can find a replacement for me. They ended up finding a few options and asking them. And then we had one dude say he was down. And then my coach told me, and he was like, hey, check him out. Let me know what you think if you're down. I checked him out. I seen some of his videos, and I'm like, I'm down. Let's do it. And then he goes, let me see some other options. And then most of I think the other 2 or 3 options said no. So I was like, it's okay. I want that guy. It was a Mongolian dude, 3-0 pro guy. So I was like, I'm down for it. He hasn't fought since 2018, and he fought at 45 twice and one time as a 35er. And I was like, okay, I'm down. Let's do it. And as of today, Monday, I actually just found out yesterday that this guy pulled out of the fight. And I seen the messages between one of my coaches, who's the matchmaker at Factory X, and Mark Brary, the matchmaker for LFA. And they're saying like how a few people declined, and then both those guys pulled out. And now I'm over here waiting. I don't know if I'm gonna end up actually fighting. Today's Monday, it's Monday night. Thursday's the weigh-in, so I'm like, who's gonna really accept the fight in 2-3 days? We'll see. I'm still trying to cut weight slowly, and not burn myself, but we're here. We're trying to stay ready, you know what I mean? So hopefully the fight goes through, and if not, it's okay. It's all God's plan, you know what I mean? And this is the way the sport goes. And my brother's fighting. He's the co-main event of the LFA card. So even if I don't fight, as much as it sucks, I'm still gonna be there rooting for my brother, and helping him do everything else. So.
Of course, that's a great mindset to have, Motaz. What I said to you off air, it's like, this is part of the sport. Part of the sport is that this is not going to be the last time that somebody gets injured or pulls out for whatever reason. And to mentally go through shifting gears to change to another opponent, is tough, but it's definitely, par for the course. So, are you the type of fighter who would jump in and accept a fight on short notice? It just seems like, the guys who are doing this for LFA, if they're accepting it on short notice, they're not, I don't know, how do I put this? They're not the type of person who's with a good team, who's got a good game plan, who's doing it the right way. It's like, who the hell is going to take a fight with Motaz Askar on 48 hours?
Yeah. So that's the thing, what I'm saying. Like for me, I personally would not take a fight on 48 hours. I don't even know if I can. I cut a shit ton of weight. So it's like, even if I wanted to, I don't think I would be able to. But 2-3 days, especially like for myself, I was undefeated as an amateur and I'm undefeated as a pro. I don't think people want to come in and just be like, hey, let's fight this kid. It's like I know people want to camp to fight me. Like I want to camp to fight other people, regardless if they're undefeated or 1-7. You know what I mean?
Right.
But especially for like LFA or any like regional and local promotion, even though LFA is one of the top ones, right? Like unless it's a UFC shot or UFC short notice, I don't think anybody's taking a 2-day notice fight. You know what I mean? Unless you're not really into the sport or you're just like, oh, at 145? Yeah, I walk around 45. Let's do it. It's like, you really trying to do this?
What? You brought up a really good point because your brother, Askar, was taking that fight on short notice for the UFC. So if the UFC comes knocking, you're ready.
Exactly. 6 days notice you took that. You know what I mean? It's like that's the kind of opportunity that you do take short notice because you don't know when it's going to come again. Like a short notice fight like this, I don't think anybody's looking and be like, oh, 2 days to get on the LFA card. Let's do it. It's like if you give a person a week, maybe, but like 2-3 days, it's like, especially with weight cutting and prospects and whoever you're fighting. So I don't know. I hope someone hops in. I hope someone says yes, but I don't know if anybody would actually be down to say yes. So we'll see.
Even just being in the position you are, where you had your initial opponent drop out and you're still like, I'm ready to take any name, I'm ready to go, you're in shape and you're all geared up to go. So that's commendable, Motaz, even that you still want to compete on Saturday. A lot of people would have just said, oh, my opponent's out, I'm out too. So that's something that I'm sure the LFA appreciates, and hopefully they come up with something. Motaz, let's start from the beginning. A lot of people are going to watch this, going to be like, who the hell are these guys, and what's his story? So for you, Motaz, you come from a fighting family. So let's talk about that. You guys, your parents come from Palestine, right? Am I hitting the nail on the head there? They moved to the United States when you were born, young? I'm not hearing your audio, Motaz.
Are we good?
Now you're good.
Okay, yeah. So I was saying we were all born in Palestine, right? So for me, all the way to all my siblings, except my little brother, he was born in America. But we moved here when we were 3. So we were born in in Palestine, and we moved out here in Chicago. And then later down the line, we all started fighting. Me and my 2 brothers, as you know. But I have 2 brothers, Asaf Askar, and then Oscar Askar. Oscar, the oldest brother, is actually the co-main event of this LFA event. Like I was saying, even if I don't end up fighting, I'm still there supporting my brother. But we all started at different times. My 2 older brothers started at the same time. I think it was like 2009, 2010, and then I came behind 2012. I seen them do it, so I was like, you know what, let me hop on that. And then also, like, my dad would always take us to work, so when they joined the gym, I ended up coming right behind them because my dad would take me to work, and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing all this. I'm like, I want to join the gym. And he's like, you want to join?
I can relate to that.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know what? I want to join the gym. He's like, you want to fight? I'm like, of course. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. So he takes me, and I ended up doing jiu-jitsu for the first time 2012. I remember I joined January 1st, 2012. It's when I first started my MMA career, So I ended up doing that with my brothers, and then we just never stopped. It took off from there. I ended up going to wrestle in high school. Not like a lot of people. I went to high school to wrestle for fighting. I didn't go to wrestle.
Right.
I would tell my coaches, I'm here so I could know how to wrestle when I fight, when I turn 18. And they're like, focus on wrestling. I'm like, we'll see about that. I ended up focusing on wrestling, but I knew what I was getting into, you know what I mean? And so after that, obviously made my debut when I was 18, and you were commentating, I was fighting your boy. So there was that. And then, I'm right now, like, I'm 7-0 as an amateur, 2-0 as a pro. I was hoping to fight, for the LFA Friday, but we'll see what happens. And then my oldest brother is 2-0. My oldest brother, Oscar, is he's 12-2. He's 12-2 as a pro, right on the doorstep of the UFC. He was actually in the UFC. Medical problem took him back, but he'll definitely be back. Hopefully after this fight, he'll get signed, called up on short notice, something like that. And then my middle brother, Asif, is 2-0 as a pro too. So it's a fighting family. We've all been fighting for years. And if you want problems, you come by our house. You know what I mean? So
actually, they're the nicest guys ever. Everybody gets along with all you guys. But I've been saying for years, you guys need like ESPN specials following you around. We need a 30 for 30 on the Oscars, because this is crazy. Fighting brothers, the Diaz brothers. There's been a couple, 3, and you're all badasses. You're all phenomenal, very high level, all professionals now. I want to say all of you went undefeated as amateurs. maybe I'm off by a fight or something, but you
Mhm.
guys are all like some of the best amateurs ever from the Midwest, turn pro, and you guys are all killing people. It's a true rarity, man. It is a very, very unique thing you guys got going on. So I'd
Yeah.
love to see you entering back into the cage. My next question,
Yes, sir.
you haven't fought in a minute.
Yeah, it's been 2
Um,
years, bro.
2 years. 2 years. Why?
Yeah. So I actually get asked this question a lot, and I know my parents are always like, my parents are super supportive of all this. They finally came around, they have 3 sons that do this, and they finally came around, and they all give us the freedom of supporting us and everything.
Good.
But let's start. Like, when did the pandemic hit? It was in March, right? March like 13th. I
Yeah.
fought February 7th of February.
Right.
So this fight would have been almost 2 years to the day, but I fought in February. And I remember having an interview with one of the guys after, and he was like, "How many fights do you want to have this year?" I'm like, "Man, I want 3, 4, 5." I'm like, "I want to fight as many times as I want," and I genuinely meant it. I was like, "I'm down for this." And then obviously the pandemic hit, everything got shut down. So March, let's see, March, April, May, June, right? I didn't get back till training until June, because my dad was so scared of it, and this is a thing back in Chicago because I moved now. I'm in Colorado at Factory X, but back then when I used to go to the gym in Schaumburg, I used to be an hour out. So I would always drive an hour away every day to go to the gym. So my dad would tell me, "You're not leaving," and I'm like, "I can't fight this guy." I tell him, I got to go train. There was, I think, like 4 or 5 people training at the time over there, including like one of them was my oldest brother, and he would always call me like, "You're gonna come?" I'm like, "Dad won't let me come. He's terrified. He thinks if I leave, I'm gonna come back and bring COVID to the house," you know. So that was part of it. So I didn't train for a while. And man, listen, let me tell you something about Arabs and Palestinians. We love to eat. Always love to eat. The food is amazing, right? So I got heavy. I'm a 45er. You know what I mean? I'm a 45er. Even when my coach like, "We're going 55," I was like, "I'm not going 55." I was like, "I'll fight at 50. I'll fight at 55 sometimes for like short notice fights if I need to, or if someone's hopping in and I have to like
Sure.
go up in weight." But I'm like, I'm a 45er. And so I ended up coming back, and man, I was weighing around like 188, 190.
Woo!
I was a big boy.
Damn, Motaz, you're heavier than me, bro.
I know at the time, so I ended up getting really heavy. And then the thing was, I started lifting. So it's not I just did not train. I would still train. I'd go to the gym by my house that I worked at, and I'd go in with my friends, and we'd start working out. I actually did this thing where I I bought this subscription thing for the Ohio State Wrestling strength conditioning team. So I was like,
Nice.
"Let's do it. I'll do this 30 days." I told my friends. Half of them died and passed out. It was terrible. I'm not gonna lie, it was super hard, but I had my friends help me and like do it with me. I ended up doing it, and I'm like, man, I felt so much stronger. I felt like I put on muscle, and I was like, you know what, this is good. We'll see what happens when I cut down to 45. Little did I know it was gonna take forever for me to actually have a cut, but around that time, it was the summer of 2020, and I remember I would go back to the gym, and my sister ended up getting COVID, and it was like, "Don't come to the gym," so I would have to go home. That took about 2, 3 weeks off. I came back, I got COVID, so it was like, "Don't come to the gym." So as the COVID cases kept coming with me, my mom, my sister, my brother, I would always get told, "Go home. No, you
Mm.
can't come to the gym. Don't." And I'm like, man, I need a consistent schedule of training. I can't just be going in for a week, leaving. I need that consistency of training because that's how it always was with me. Once I get one fight, I'll get 10 fights. Once I get, my weight down, it's going down. But once it's a track, stop, 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 it's a bad thing for me. But
Yeah.
eventually, this went all the way until like the end of 2020, and I told myself it's okay. 2020 hard year, COVID, everything's tough, whatever. 2021, I was like, okay, let's do this thing. You know what I mean? So 2021 came along, and I was starting to finally get like progression, you know. But I was so heavy that it was like slowly coming down. I'm like walking around at 185, 184, and I'm like, man, this is gonna be a hard weight cut. And then this actually has to do with the move of us coming to Colorado. So
Okay.
um, in February, my brother Oscar got called up to the UFC to fight Cody Stamann, who was like
That's
number
right.
11 or number 9 in the time in the
Mhm.
world at the time, right? So that fight, we were all like, hell yeah, finally, someone from our gym making it to the UFC. Obviously, my brother, so I was like, this is a huge deal for my whole family.
Yep.
He ended up going there, medical problem ended up taking him out, and they cut him. So from there, he had another fight, I think, scheduled a few months later, and there was this thing with my coach, and I like my coach, my old coach. I have no problems with him. Like, it's not like bad blood between me, anyways. And it didn't feel like he was trying to coach. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like he was trying to find me a fight. It didn't feel like he cared. He wasn't always at the gym. I know he cared, like, as a person, but like career-wise, it didn't seem like, because I'm like, I would tell him like, yo, what's the opportunities here? What's happening with my career? I'm just over here. But last time I fought I was 21. I'm about to be 23. I'm like, I need to get this rolling. And then my oldest brother ended up having a fight at LFA, and he ended up losing that fight. It was after his UFC, supposed to be UFC debut. So after that, it was kind of like the final straw. And we kind of seen what was really going down at our gym. And we ended up just saying, okay, we're out of here. We got to go find a new gym, So we ended up leaving, packing our bags. We're like, let's find a gym. Jason House, Oscar's manager for Iridium, I think, yeah. He was like, you guys should go check out Factory X. So we ended up moving to Factory X, a few months later after we tested it out. But this is also the thing, we tested out a few gyms. And at the time, it was just kind of like a vacation. Go test out this gym, Well, what did I do? I was eating while training because there was no like set schedule. So my big ass got to 194. That was the heaviest.
Oh, wow.
I hit to 194, and I'm like, man, I can, this is also the thing in my life. So I like go through some mental lapses and stuff like this, where like I go, I have to fight some demons at times. And so for me, in the past 2 years, I didn't fight, right? So people would think, oh, this guy, he didn't fight, this and that. I actually felt like I hit something in my life where I finally found peace in my heart, in my life, and everything. So I was like, you know what, this is a good thing, because some of the past few fights I had, I would go in with like this thing like in me where it's like I don't feel like I'm 100% mentally, but finally I feel like I am. I finally found peace. I never thought I would ever move away from my family and friends and this and that. So made that change, and as much as it's 2 years wasted, it's not really 2 years wasted, because it's 2 years of learning, helping myself adapt to life and everything. As you know me, like when we first met, man, when I would fight, 2018, I fought 5 times. 2019, I fought, I think, twice or 3 times. And then 2020, I fought in the beginning. And then I found this thing where I have to find a happy medium between life and fighting. Fighting is my life 100%. And I train all the time and all this and that, but there has to be a happy medium in the middle. And I finally found that, where I'm like, I have my family, I have my mom and dad, my siblings, my best friends, and I have my fighting career and my teammates, It always used to be just fighting, career, and then it would just drive me crazy. So finally moving here, man, it was kind of like, freedom, it was just me, my brother, and one of our old teammates, Alex Rego, who we all moved out here in Colorado. And right when I got here, I was 192, and they're like, what weight do you fight at? I'm like, I'm a 145er. They're like, why are you so big? So I was like, oh man, here we go. So they ended up, like getting on me. And that's the thing. All I needed was a consistent, training camp. And here, the elevation is crazy. So like we're going and pacing and everything. So I ended up losing weight as time goes. And they're like, I remember Coach Mark Montoya told me, it's like, you better get your big ass down if you want to find a fight, because you're too good to not be fighting. And that kind of hit me a little bit, because I was like, man, that it means a lot coming from a coach like that.
Well,
and
put, yeah.
I gotta get after. He's right. I have to get this weight down and everything. And I ended up obviously getting it down. I had to go through fighting and training with 70 pounders, because they're like, you're not a 45. I'm like, well, come on, 70s, 55ers. I'm like, man, I'm finally skinny. Can I please go to 45ers and the 35ers? So yeah, man, the 2 years were I wouldn't even say wasted. I'd say growth. I grew in my life mentally, physically, and everything, outside of fighting and fighting. So the last 2 years, it is what it is. It happened, and I'm just happy to be here. And like, I thought I was going to be able to finally get this fight on Friday, but we'll see what happens, Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. I'm content with it. You know what I mean? I'm not upset with nothing. I try not to let things too like hit me to the heart now. Like I let things go more easily now. So a fight like this that was supposed to happen, I was excited, especially getting a fight with my brother and LFA, definitely saddened me up a little bit and upset me. But honestly, like God wills it, you know what I mean? Whatever happens, happens. I put my trust in God. So wherever we go from here, it's only up. The training is consistent. So I'm not worried, honestly. If I don't fight, I'm not worried. So
yeah, that was no, that was really illuminating, Motaz. I didn't know a couple of those things. Like, so one thing I've been wanting to ask you about is, of course, moving to Colorado, and you touched on it there. You're such a family oriented guy. Like your family loves you, you love your family, you love your friends, you got friends who love you too. Of course, you're with your brother, which must feel good. But how have you? Is it what you expected? Not living at home, not being around, your mom every day. Is it what you expected? And then, maybe, what have you taken away from some isolation? What have you taken away from sort of living on your own? I know you're with Oscar, but sort of going on to like another step into your life. What have you learned about yourself? I guess another way to frame the question would be, what brought you to being at peace?
So there's a couple things. So I'd say this: moving here at first was terrible. Like when me and my brother were discussing this, we had a few options on where to go. If it was Cali, Florida, Arizona, Colorado, even Michigan, which was right
Invite's still open, brother. The invite is still open.
I know. So yeah, you already know Oscar fought one of the dudes from King's MMA. So
that's right.
You know what I mean? So like I said, we had the options, and Oscar came up to me, is like, we're gonna go try out Factor X. So we ended up coming, and I told myself, I'm like, listen, I want to do camps. I want to come home. I'm not gonna move nowhere. I'm not leaving my mom. Like I love my mom. You know what I mean? And I don't want to leave my mom, and I don't want to leave my dad and my little brother. And my family. Everybody. But we ended up going. It was cool, and then we ended up going train other places. And then Oscar's like, "Yo, Coach Mark said that if we don't move there, we can't go." And my heart dropped. I was like, "Man, I really want to train there." And I was like, "What do you think?" Like in my mind, I was talking to myself, like, "What am I gonna do?" And my brother's like, "I want to move there, so you let me know if you're gonna come with me or not." And I'm like, "Damn!" And I'm like, I knew I had to make a change. I was like, I know I have to make a move somewhere to go train. What am I gonna do? Just sit here, So we ended up making the move. And when we first got there, I remember they moved out. Him and Alex Rego moved out. I think a week or 2 weeks before me. And I was like, "Okay, guys, I'll see you guys in a couple weeks." I was saying bye to everybody. It was kind of sad because I was like, "Man, I've never experienced moving away ever in my life, So I told everybody, "Guys, bye. It's not like I'm not gonna be back. I will definitely be back, but like, it's a big move. Everyday life is not the same now." So I ended up moving out there, and I remember it was September 5th of 2021. I remember getting here, and I was like, "Okay, this is not too bad." It was the first day, It was just kind of like hanging out at someone's house. But as the week and 2 weeks came, I'm not gonna lie to you, I hated it. I didn't even tell my brother or my roommate, Alex Rego. I didn't tell him I hated it. I in my mind, I was like, "Man, if this continues, I'm going home. I'm not gonna stay here. Like, I'm not happy." You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because I did gain the happiness, like in those 2 years, back home. So like when I came here, I was like, "Man, this is really messing up my mood. I'm over here. How am I gonna be?"
Hate?
Just the not the lifestyle. Like I love the fact that we train in the morning, because I train at night my whole life since I was 12. So to finally train at 10 in the morning,
right,
and then have a strength and conditioning program over here, it's amazing. Like the way they set up is beautiful, right? This is the type of place where, like, we'll train 2-3 times, and we don't have to do our own extra stuff because we already know we got the work we needed, and we're already exhausted. Back home, we used to do the practice, have to do our own thing in the morning, So I'm like, man, they got it locked down. Nice. This is what you do at this time. I loved it. The only time I was happy was when I was training. The thing that sucked was we trained from 10 to 12, and then 1:30 to 2:30 we'd do strength and conditioning. At 2:30 we go home, and I'm like, what now? Back home, I have this personality of I need to always be doing something, even if it's working out, hanging out with people, going to see somebody, hanging out with my mom, just doing things. Here it was just kind of like, okay, it's just you three, nothing to do. Obviously we left our jobs. We're over here just trying to make money however we can. It's kind of like a big career change where it's like
Yeah.
you don't only just leave your family and your friends, but you're leaving your money, whatever you were making. For me, I'm not lying. At the UFC gym, we used to work there together. He makes pretty good money there. So I left, and man, I was like, man, here we go. We're struggling with money now too. So it was a mixture of a lot of things. But after 2-3 weeks, start to get it. Like I start to be happy with the life it was. Everybody there's cool. We got a few guys that are just like, man, you're like, these some good people. A lot of the UFC guys are genuine people. Like one of my favorite guys at the Vector X is Chris Gutierrez. I don't know if you know him. He's
nice.
The calf kick man. That guy, he's very, very nice dude. Super heart, super nice heart, and just he gave us a nice welcome when we first came here, and you could tell he's like just a genuinely nice guy. And a few others, obviously, a lot of them are super cool here, make you feel like you're, like you belong. But that guy especially, and after that, I started to feel more at peace being there, and then also realizing I'm like, man, I could just go home on the weekends. I'm like, I'll just take a flight and come back, which I did a few times. You know what I mean?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I would do it. I would probably go home once a month, for the weekend. And then I would tell Coach Mike, like, man, listen, I told him when I first got here, I was like, I want to still go home. I got things like I want to see my mom. I don't want to just move out here and be here, So there was that. And he was like, yeah, you just let me know when you go back. And so I've been back a few times for weddings and stuff. So, and it was kind of cool. And then also the biggest thing about moving here was that I realized the distractions were gone. As much as I love my family, I love my mom. Her cooking's too good. You know what I mean? So for me,
she played a role in that with 200 pounds, huh?
I'm telling you, and we're here cooking terrible food. You know what I mean? Ain't no one here know how to cook technically, but yeah, man, the distractions were a big thing. Like for me, I don't have the urge to be like, oh, let's go eat something. My friends don't hit me up like, hey, let's go eat, and I'm like, man, I got it. This and that. Or like my mom's like, eat this food, this and that. So that was the biggest blessing, the distractions. So that's why it's kind of cool to go back on the weekends. And then I'm like, man, if I consistently fight, I'll go home for 2-3 weeks. I'll get bored of everybody and I'll come back, So there was that. And then coming off your other question, talking about like learning stuff here is like being alone. Like I said, the first few weeks sucked, but I started to really grow into my own and finally know how to, live my own life by myself, technically, even though I'm not really alone. People have the college experience. I went to college, never finished, but I went to college for a few years, I think 4 or 5 years. I just never finished because I kept pushing it off because of fighting,
Yeah.
I'd have a fight, I wouldn't even focus on school. But, people have the college experience of moving out to another state or a big university and going and being alone or with a roommate. This is kind of what it feels like, you know what I mean? I'm out here, but with my roommate's my own brother. And then one of our old teammates, so it's like I had to learn how to cook. So I'm starting to cook a little bit, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm over here cooking some chicken and stuff like that, and beef and whatever. I tried to make pasta once; it was okay, and some tacos. that was in the beginning. Don't judge me on that. But
all right,
cooking good food, consistently be like, okay, hey, I gotta stay healthy. Let's eat some chicken. I'll cook up some chicken, brown rice, this and that. So like this week, fight week. I was like, I cooked up my own chicken waiting to see what's good. But hey, listen, they tell me no fight, I'm going straight to In-N-Out. You know what I mean? Give me a day where I can do whatever I want.
You guys got In-N-Out in Colorado?
Yeah, believe it or not, Colorado has one.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah. You're eating our food over there. Raising Cane's. You tried Raising Cane's?
There's that in Chicago, so I've had that many times. That's great.
Really?
Yeah, you don't know that?
Nah, but Raising Cane's, when I came to California, they're all over the place. They just opened one in Gurnee though, so that's where I'm from. So now they're starting to move. They're like new in Chicago though. There wasn't one when I was out there.
You moved in 2019, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you moved around the end of 2019. I remember.
Right when Raising Cane's came, I dipped. Damn,
yeah, because there's
too good.
Yeah, there's ones everywhere now. But I mean, how would I know? Honestly, I was not even there anymore. But
the producer of this show, Billy, he says he can't even eat it because it's got so much sodium, it'll just knock his ass out. The guy who was on here when we started, he's like, it'll just put him out. So it's good thing that you're cooking for yourself. That seems to be like the key to eating right is just you got to be able to You got to be able to fire up, you know, the oven, be able to just get your own chicken and rice, like you said, get it going, make your own little salad. That's my problem, Motaz. I don't cook nothing, so that's my issue, man.
Hey, listen,
I remember you with the freaking. All right, I'm gonna put Motaz on blast here. I'd come into the gym, Motaz would have like string cheese, like, you know, your diet was not as good as it is today, I assume. Now you're doing better.
I'll tell you this, like, I always tell everybody whenever they ask me, like, oh man, especially people who don't know nothing about fighters and fighting, be like, you eat healthy all the time? I'm like, no, hell no. I'm like, I'll be eating Taco Bell on the side. But like, no, like when there's a fight, you know, obviously I'm super clean. I mean, super clean for 8-9 weeks, you know?
Right.
But that's what I'm saying with the happy median, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In life, it's like, you can enjoy yourself. If you're not enjoying yourself, you're just going to hate this sport. You're going to hate it because this is a hard sport. It's a tough sport mentally, physically. You have to eat right. You know what I mean? It doesn't make you happy all the time. I'm not happy right now during fight week. I'm over here stressed out, seeing if I'm a fight. I'm over here like, am I going to cut weight or no? Like, but I still have to continue just to see if they give me a fight. But you know, this is the hard part. Like the fun part's fighting, and then the best part's after the fight when you win, and then you get to eat some food with your people. You know what I mean? So it's
you brought up the happy medium thing again, and so I wanted to give you I'm going to butcher a Jeff Bezos quote, and we'll see if you take anything from it. He says most people try to find a work-life balance, and he thinks that's probably like the wrong way to look at it. Instead of thinking about it like a balance, it's more like a work-life harmony. Like you want to go home or go to wherever you're at, and that lifestyle supports what you do for a career, and your career supports your lifestyle when you're at home. And have you found a sort of a harmony of your lifestyle, your training? Has that been a key to your piece?
Yeah, for sure has been. And like I said, man, the 2 years off, I think opened my eyes to find the happiness in me. You know what I mean? Because it's not like I was not happy. I was, there was times I was not, but there was times I were, you know, even when I was like, you know, fighting. But I knew it wasn't fighting. It was just the fact that the way my life was split. Like it felt like it was like 80-20, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know if this makes any sense. Instead of it being like 50-50, like fighting and life, it's like 100 fighting, 50% life. You know what I mean? I'm not giving that 100% effort for fighting. Yeah. But I'm also given more space to do other things while I'm fighting and training. I'm still doing my 2 workouts a day with a run if I wanted to run. But I'm also going to see my family, see my mom, you know, hanging out with my friends, you know, enjoying like food if I'm not in camp, stuff like that. Back then it used to be just like train, go home, go to sleep, wake up, train, go home. You know, and it's like, you know, you kind of feel like, man, I'm over here. I like this sport. I love this sport. And I know I do. But it's like, man, there's no happiness until the fight, you know? Sure. So things like that where I'm like, I can find the happiness in between fighting and just when I'm fighting, you know what I mean? And I think moving here, I did find that like peace because back then, when I was back in Chicago, like I said, as much as those 2 years were COVID's fault, it was half my fault, you know, or all my fault, you know. I still put a lot of blame on myself as much as I do put on the old coach or COVID or my dad, you know what I mean? But like, it's, you know, yeah, I got to put my dad on blast real quick. That's my boy. But
your dad's your biggest fan, bro. Your biggest fan.
You know that. He'd be jumping up on the cage all the time. It was runs in. I'm like, bro, you can't get in here. But all right, come on, let's go. You know?
I've heard some good stories about your dad at MMA events, so feel free. Man. But I know your dad's a super fan, to say the least, of all you guys.
Yeah, you've seen that firsthand when you were commentating. That dude always runs up to the freaking cage every single time, and I'm like, man, he's hyped. Or sometimes I'd be getting ready. I'm over here in my corner, waiting for my fight, waiting for the other guy to come in, and he's like, let's go. I'm looking at my, oh, shit, he's right there. What's up, baby? You know? So it's like, you know, he is definitely my number one supporter, him and my mom, you know, but that guy is there every time. You know, what's actually crazy too is my mom was supposed to be at this fight. First time she would ever come watch any of us fight.
Really?
So she's coming to the fight in Indiana. So I'm like, the thing is my mom and dad don't know yet. So if by tomorrow I don't get an opponent or nothing, I'm going to call them big. Bad news. this is what's happening. But you know.
Well, this will be coming out tomorrow, Motaz. So we'll wait until you call your parents, okay?
Yeah,
I
I hope my mom and dad don't see this. Then again, I don't think my dad probably skipped through and be like, I don't know what's happening here, but you know what I mean? Maybe my dad actually loves to hear all our interviews. So he's probably gonna listen to this regardless of how long it is. You know, he'll be like, I'm tuning in. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what they're saying, but I'm here for it. You know, my son is there. So, you know, like I said, my dad, #1 fan. That guy's, you know.
Yeah, well, shout out to your dad, man. That's really cool. I always you know, the type of man he is to support you guys, whether he was with it or not in the beginning of you fighting. You know, now that he is supporting you, that's really cool.
I'll tell you this actually. So my mom was the first one when I first had my first amateur fight against that Juan Avila dude that's you went to high school with.
Yes.
That guy, my dad, when I first told him I'm having a fight, he's like, you even train? I'm like, bro, I've been training since I was 12. I'm like, where you been at? You know what I mean? They think I was just doing whatever. He's got just thought you know how to wrestle. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm like, I had a kickboxing fight when I was 16, but I guess they don't remember that. So before the fight, I was cutting weight. You know, I felt like shit, obviously. I made weight. I came home. My mom goes, this is your first and final fight. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, why are you going to do this to me? I just finished making weight. I'm over here getting excited to go fight tomorrow, and you're over here telling me this. You're bringing me down. And then my dad comes in. He goes, listen, you lose, you quit. You're not fighting. If you lose, you're not fighting. I was like, what is this pressure you guys are putting on me? I ended up going in. Obviously, you remember the fight. 2 seconds in, this dude rocks my world. I'm over here confused on what's going on. The whole room spinning. I thought that's how every fight was. I ended up beating him, right?
Yep.
And then after, my dad was like, whoa, you're good. I'm like, what? He's like, you're actually good. You should continue. He came home. He's like, he told her in Arabic, he's like, listen, this guy, he has to keep fighting. He's too good. He's too good. My mom was like, oh my God, a third one. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So it was like that. My dad came around very quickly. My mom ended up coming around, you know, later on in my career. But my dad, right after the first fight, he kept calling me Khabib. I was like, man, all right, I'm Khabib to you. I guess he keeps telling me, yeah, my son's Khabib. I'm like, what does that even mean? I was like, all right,
that's awesome.
Just because I knew how to wrestle. So.
Yeah, no, that's an awesome story. And you did look good in your first fight, Motaz. For those who don't know, Juan Avila, I believe, already had fights at that point. But whether I'm right or I'm wrong about that, the guy's got some nasty hands. Shout out to Juan Avila. It's all love, of course. But you really, he's a beast.
Yeah, I like watching him fight. Honestly, when I see his fight, I'm like, yo, I'm tuning in. You know?
Hell yeah, he's exciting.
And he's crazy, man. I seen some shit on him. He went up to 70. He fought a 70, fought a 55. Man, what is this guy doing? This dude's just doing whatever he wants. Like, this dude got to stick to 45. He hits hard for a 45er. I know that's the hardest I've ever gotten hit. But, you know.
In your first fight.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, I thought that's how every fight was. I remember my second fight was nervous. I'm like, man, I got to go through the room spinning again and everything. Then I realized after the fight was over, I'm like, man, I didn't even get hit. And then the third, fourth, fifth, sixth fight, I've never gotten rocked after that, you know. And thank God, you know, I hope to never get rocked again. But, like, you know, the first fight I had was the only time I ever got rocked in my career. And
wow.
Now that I always think about it, I'm like, man, I had to face a lot of adversity in my first amateur fight. I think that's what shaped my whole career, you know, because I got rocked in the first 2 seconds. Next thing I know, I'm like, I can't breathe. And the room's spinning. I don't know where this guy's at. And he's huffing and puffing at me. You know, he grunted at me before he threw a hook in the first 2 seconds. I was like, yo, am I fighting a wild animal? What is it? You know?
He was gassed up, dude.
Oh, man.
You were fighting the Mexican Vanderlei Silva.
Yeah, he was ready to do it, you know? But,
hell yeah.
Hey, shout out to that guy, you know? I hope he's doing good.
Oh, yeah. All love to Juan. I've gotten to comment. I've had the pleasure of commentating a lot of Juan Avila fights, so he's an XFO staple for sure. All love to Juan. Yes, that was quite a way for you to make a debut. And honestly, on paper, the opponents got tougher and tougher. You know, you fought some tough kids, but I think that, you know, your style and your athletic ability coupled with your creativity, like, you're just a hard puzzle to figure out, man. Like, if you look at that last Hoosier Fight Club fight I called of yours, you know, you fought a guy who is, if I'm not mistaken, a Taekwondo and a Jiu-Jitsu black belt, right? I mean, that's a tall order for you know, for you. You made easy work of him. I mean, all respect to him. What a phenomenal you know, what a phenomenal fighter. But your style is just really hard for them to deal with in there, man. So that's going to lead me to my next question, Motaz. And this is just I was just genuinely curious, whether we were talking on the phone or not. I wanted to ask you this.
Yeah.
What evolution has Motaz gone through at Factory X? What have you learned in Colorado? What has it done for your game?
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest number one thing is cardio. That's number one, because elevation. You know what I mean? I got here and I was running like a sloth, and I'm like, why am I so tired? And everyone's like, that's the elevation. It took me about 4 to 5 months to finally get that elevation under me, you know?
Wow.
And I'm not even gonna lie, even for this fight, I was like, man, I'm a little worried. Like my cardio, they're like, trust me, your cardio here. When you go back to Indiana, you're gonna feel like Superman. And I'm like, and the thing is, my brother Oscar fought in California after we were training here, and he was telling me, man, I didn't like. He's like, it's insane. So I was like, okay, cool. So I'd probably say my cardio. I think my pace is gonna be like, stepped up. Another thing is movement. I'm over here, you know me. You see my fights. I love to, like you said, like I like to be creative and do a lot of things, cartwheels and shit. Hopefully one day I'm gonna knock someone out with that. But like
Michael Bahia style.
Yeah, one day, man. One day. You remember that. But
all right, I will note it.
Yeah, and I would say, like, I'm always coming forward. You know me. I'm always like pressure forward, and then like I like to just get it, get after it. But here I was more focused on just actually settling down, not getting so aggressive and trying to come after everybody, and being able to move my feet, move my head, and have like this footwork and this head movement, like it's based Muay Thai over here, Coach Mike's the man. If you ever clinch up with that man, you're going to hate your life, So it's like, he's been teaching like the clinch. Oh man, the clinch here. I was like, man, they be putting me in clinch, and I'm like, man, I feel like a little baby. I'm like, I got to learn this, So I would definitely say, like, in the aspect of my game, the clinch is getting better, the cardio, my movement, my switching stance, things I've been trying to work on, but I haven't had somebody to be like, this is what we need to do. Now I'm finally having everybody. And the good thing is here is like everybody you're training with is good. There's no easy round, I'm gonna take this one off. No, it's shit, this guy, damn, this guy, oh my God, this dude, you know what I mean? Nice. So it's like consistent, hard goes. And then my favorite thing about here, and I don't know if any other gym does this, but this is my favorite thing about Factory X. Every Friday, people have cage rounds. If you have a fight, you have cage rounds. So what a cage round is, we have a big mat. Everyone goes spars there. They put your name and someone else from the team. Someone you're fighting, like if you're fighting somebody who has a specific style, they try to find somebody on the team that has that style. And you guys, they write your name. If you have a fight coming, they write your name 2 or 3 times. If you're like Brandon Royval, who's the number 4 or 3rd ranked flyweight, his kid's a freaking gas machine. The kid never gets tired. It's insane, But like they put him 4 or 5 rounds. I'm like, oh my God, So basically, you have a walk-in, right? This is every Friday. You have a walk-in. You get in there. You have corners, and you literally fight. You literally go, And it feels just like a fight. I feel like if someone's like, oh, man, you have fun 2 years. I'm like, bro, I feel like I fought 45 times since I moved.
Right. Yeah. Fighting, interesting.
And you go in, if you were to get rocked, fight, rounds over. If you were to get stunned, rounds over. You get submitted, rounds over. It's like a real fight. It's not like, okay, get up, go. Okay, no, get up, go. Oh, you hurt him. Wait. Okay, get up, let's fight. No, it's like, oh, you rocked him? Stop the fight. Oh, you choked him or you subbed him? Rounds over. But the good thing is, you guys actually go hard, because everyone's watching you. The coaches, they have like the people, if anybody wants to watch who's sparring, they get around and just watch you, and you actually like legit go at it. And the best thing is after the practice is over, he goes and he announces who won the round. So it's not like, oh, you just did it. No, it's like, this is your record this year. This is your record this month.
Wow.
And it's like, damn. And for me, going in there, I'm not used to. Listen. You remember where I used to train at back in Schaumburg, and man, I'm telling you, I used to go there, and I'm not an asshole, but I used to put people down sometimes, and it was just because of my nature of just going kind of hard and just wanting to get good work, not like going hard to the point where I don't like these people. I loved everybody back there, those are my people, but like just the level difference was too big, you know what I mean? And I didn't feel like I would get anybody to actually like push me to where I'm like, man, I'm in danger except my brother, my brothers, Asif and Oscar. So being like here, man, everybody gives me a tough round. I have rounds where I'm like, man, I got this guy today. I got to spar him 2-3 rounds. These guys are good. Like, like I'm training with guys like Alexander Hernandez. Alex is the man, bro. He's one of the nicest guys. He helps, and he's good. And obviously he's good. And going rounds with him, it's awesome. He teaches us things and like tells me things when I need. There's guys like Markel. He's a 2 or 3-0 pro, I think now. Jacoby Jones. He's the dude, dog wrestler, dog fighter. These guys are good. Yusuf Zalal. We have a huge amount of people. Vince Pichel, that's my boy, mustache man. You know what I mean? Like there's different styles. Like as if you watched UFC, like the style Alex has, Alexander Hernandez, the style Vince Pichel has, and the style all these guys have. Yusuf, it's like some dude's gonna keep jabbing you from a distance. Some dude's gonna try to take you down and hold you down. Some dude's gonna try to play guard with you. Someone's gonna play the legs with you. And there's people who are just gonna dominate you, and you're like, man, I used to always have that safety valve back in my old gym where I'm like, this guy somehow is beating me on the feet, I'm taking him down. It's not like that. I gotta set that up. You know what I mean? I can't just close my eyes, let's shoot. No, I gotta work, shoot, fake, go. Stuff like that. So realizing the levels is one thing I'm definitely happy about, and I think is making me open my eyes to everything, and knowing that I'm like, man, half these guys I'm about to fight are not gonna be on the level these guys are on. You know what I mean? And I know where my level is at, training with these UFC dudes. I'm like, man, I'm there. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm there with these dudes. This is not like a one-sided ass whooping. I'm like, man, I'm winning here. They're beating me here. I'm beating them here. So it's like, So I'd say the number one thing would be mental edge, honestly. The mental, knowing where I'm at, training with all these dudes, And then also them being like, man,
that's super honest of you, Motaz. Yeah, that's sort of what I was telling you guys about coming out here when I train at King's MMA, Ruka. I've had the pleasure of sparring Rafael Dos Anjos and Kelvin Gastelum and a lot of these guys. It really shows you understand when you go home after that's done. Like, this is where I'm at. You understand. So that gives you a mental edge. It gives you you sort of have a hypothesis. Like, I think I'm good. I think I can compete in the UFC. And then you go and test that in the training gym.
Exactly.
So you're doing that every single day.
Yeah. And that's the thing, going from a gym where I'm dominating, you're like, oh, I'll be UFC champ. Then you come to a gym where you're training with these guys. You're like, let me humble myself a little bit. I know where I'm at, I never thought I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be UFC champ just because I'm training with these guys. But moving out, I really know where I'm at. I really know where I stand. I know where my brother stands. I know where we're at in the level, and them giving a comment, man, you guys are good here. Hey, can you teach us that? I'm like, that feels cool. I have some of the guys UFC or not, they come up and they're like, hey, can you help me with my wrestling? I was like, you know how to make someone feel good. Come here, let me teach you. Come on.
That's awesome.
So it feels good to know the levels and know you could even teach these guys who are at a way higher level than you know what I mean? And guys who are under level, but it just feels good and where you're at, so that's why I'm like, man, I was confident coming into this fight, honestly, regardless of who I was fighting. Obviously I'm 2-0, right? I wanted to fight somebody who has a similar record, 2-0, 3-0, 4-1, but man, it seems like no one's accepting. So it feels like it's going to be like, yo, here's an 8-2 dude. And I'm like, man, I'm jumping up already. Okay, listen, that's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. I'm obviously I want to do my career right. I'm not over here trying to throw myself into the sharks and fight like a 15-1 dude, but I gotta get these fights in, you know what I'm saying, Mikey? So
I know, brother, and you're so ridiculously honest and humble and also underneath that confident. So I know you're keeping it real with me, and I know you'll fight anybody on the planet. So I actually like that they are going through. You said your coach is you called him the matchmaker, but he's sort of the person who gives thumbs up, thumbs down to matchups for LFA.
So there's a thing about Factor X too. It's not one coach, not two coaches. We got Coach Mark Montoya, who's obviously the head. He's the mastermind, obviously, of this gym. We have Coach Jordan Totoni, Coach Rafa. We have Coach Scotty, the jiu-jitsu coach. We have a bunch of coaches, Coach G. And then Coach Caruso. Caruso is the matchmaker. He's the guy who literally texted me. It used to be like, if I get a text message from my old coach, I knew something was going down. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, fight news, maybe something happened. Now it's like, if Coach Mark were to text me, it'll probably be about something, but nothing crazy important. I'm not saying not important, but not super fight related. But if I get a text from Caruso, I'm like, oh shit, something's happening. We got to fight, or did someone pull out? Like, that's the thing. Like for him, I texted him the other day, and I was like, yo, man, I didn't get this contract, bro. It's Sunday. What's going on? He's like, man, let me call you. I was like, oh shit, here we go. I'm like, no one's just gonna be, hey, let me call you, especially the guy who does this. So he's the man. He's the guy who goes. He's awesome because he checks on the guy's fight before he comes to you. He goes, I watched him. This is what I think. I think it's a good matchup. What do you think? Watch him. Let me know. We all talked. The coaches. We agreed. We like it. They're not over here like, oh, here's a 20-0 dude from Russia. Yep. You want him? Did you watch him? Did you see what he does? Did you know what he's good at and what I could beat him at? Right. And most coaches be like, no, but you want to fight him. It's like, but these guys, man, they're
looking out for you.
Yeah, they care. They go and pick this dude and go, I like him for you.
Nice.
What do you think? Or I don't know about this matchup. You tell me how you feel. They brought me this Mongolian dude. Shout out to Mongolians. I have a bunch of Mongolian friends. But like they brought him, and the crazy thing is, I think he trained with my friends Amra and Shijide and Katana and all those guys. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they know each other, and they do follow each other. So I'm like, oh man, they're friends. And I don't know, maybe this is just me thinking because I'm here alone. I'm over here just always thinking. But like, he said yes to the fight, and I posted my picture and like, I gotta fight, guys. Hell yeah, let's do this. And then my Mongolian friends, I'm like, hell yeah, let's get it. Good job, champ. This and that. And then next thing I know, dude pulled out. I'm like, what happened? You know what I mean? I'm like, did they tell him like, yo, we trained with this dude, don't fight him? You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking.
No,
I don't know. That's just me thinking. You know what I mean?
No
the thing is,
way.
He's a 35er too. Like he fought his last fight 35, he fought 45. But I was like, man, bring up the 35ers if you want. Let's go.
Right.
But I thought that fight was gonna happen. I was prepared for his style. I was ready to go. Yeah, man, I was ready to go for him. I was ready to go for the first guy. And that's the thing now. Like I've never been in this situation. Even if they bring a guy for me right now in 2 days' notice, I'm like, man, I don't got time to train for anybody. Just I got to fight. So, like I said, we'll see what happens, man. The thing is, they said I already have a. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I think I might have.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say. I don't know. I don't know if I'm allowed. But
off air. Off air.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll tell you later. Yeah.
All good. I'm not here to get you in trouble, Motaz.
Yeah.
When you were talking there about how they have you guys sparring in the gym and how they make it sort of like a fight where, if you get tapped out, you're not just going back again like a jiu-jitsu practice. They're actually calling it. That is exactly what I saw over at Fight Ready, where Henry Cejudo was running the training camp for Davis and Figueiredo. I got to go there. I got to be a fly on the wall to watch Davis and Figueiredo sparring for his last sparring. And Captain Eric was out there in like a freaking mink coat, pretending to be Bruce Buffer. And they were doing the whole thing, Motaz. And that really seems to have a tangible effect because it really puts you guys through a much similar situation to what you'll face when you actually step into the cage.
Exactly.
I've heard Dominic Cruz say that he doesn't believe in ring rust. What does Motaz Askar think? Is ring rust a real thing? Is not having fought for 2 years, can you actually remedy that by the way you train?
Honestly, I used to think it was real. I'm like, man, ring rust is real. But I'll tell you this, like, from experience, I've never had too much ring rust in my life. I don't know what ring rust means to people. What is it, 2 months, a year, 6 years, 8 months? Like I've had 8 months and 9 months between my fights, but I've never had 2 years, Right. And between those 8 and 9 months, I felt great. I felt like nothing. I was like, if I'm training consistently and I'm doing what I'm doing,
right,
good weight cut and everything, what am I worried about? Why do I have ring rust? If I'm training. Like coming here, I haven't trained, I haven't fought in 2 years. I remember my first time, they made me go in with Luigi. Luigi's the guy who actually fought Paddy Pimblett.
Oh, really? Oh, then I do know.
Luigi's actually very, that's the man. He's very, very good, man. Very good guy too, but very, very good fighter. And, I think he was whooping Paddy. He was whooping that boy, but
Paddy the Batty.
Yeah, Paddy the Batty ended up just, 360 flip, but the first time I came, they put me in the cage with first they put me in with Jacoby Jones, who's a D2 like All-American, like 3-time All-American, and I was like, okay, I was happy. I was like, hell yeah, we're in here. We might have to go at it, and man, we were going at it, and I was ready to go. I didn't feel like, yeah, I know it was not a real fight, but man, I'm telling you, it's as real as a fight could get there. So we were going at it. I was throwing pretty hard. He was throwing pretty hard, and I didn't feel like I had ring rust, and then they put me in with Luigi, and I remember everybody was like, hey, listen, this guy goes hard. You got to be careful. I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever. I'm excited to be here. I remember we got in the middle and we just started throwing, you know what I mean? And I'm like, man, I felt like I was keeping up. I was like, man, I feel good here.
You've been getting in fights. That's what you're telling me.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, man, I've been getting in with these guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I ended up like getting arm triangles with a minute left, but it's fine. We don't gotta talk about that, But like, these guys are good, man, and I don't think ring rust is real, honestly. Like, especially like Leon Edwards was talking about it. I remember, and remember him when he came back to fight Bilal. It did not seem like he was like worse or nothing. Like he was just as good, if not better. Honestly.
True. Yeah, sometimes you need some time off. I think boxers, like at the highest level, Floyd was fighting like once a year. I mean, it's like you don't have to take 4 fights in a year. All right, but that's my next question for you, bro. What do you want to see happen this year? Are we trying to just rack up some fights right now? Is Motaz entering a physical prime here? What does 2022 look like ideally for you?
So, like I said earlier, I moved here, right? And there's another motivation for me. If I were to fight, I get to go home. You know what I mean? I love home. So it's like, man, if I can consistently fight and have these however many fights and I get to go home, it's a bigger motivation for me. But regardless of that, like for me, I'm in one of the best shapes I've ever been in.
Nice.
You know what I mean? I'm running more than I've ever ran. You know what I mean? The elevation is crazy. I feel like I'm in like you said, prime physical shape. I'm like, man, I feel like I can consistently stay at this weight. And there's no such thing as not being able to stay at this weight and being in this condition, because once you come back from a fight, they tell you like, okay, the training's still just as hard. So you can't just come in and be a bum and then you're getting whooped. And then when we go to strength conditioning, they're like, oh, you just finished eating whatever, like, oh, you feel like shit? Hop on a treadmill. We're doing sprints. I'm like, oh my God, I got to be ready, or get on the versa climber. You got to be ready. These things are going to be like things that kind of scare you away from just eating bad and everything. Where like my old gym is just you go and then you can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? After your fight, you're like, I'm just going to, hey, I'll do one round. I'm going to sit down. No, you can't do that. Consistent. That's the thing about here. Consistency is key. And Coach Eric, who's the strength and conditioning coach, always says that. And for me, I want to stay in shape. So we got Ramadan, actually. So, we got Ramadan in April. I'm taking that month off. You know what I mean? And by off, I mean go home, train still with my brother, but like be with family. It's the month of family, month of religion. You know what I mean? I'm a religious guy, as you know. So that's the only month I'm like, yo, I'm taking off. So I want to get at least 3-4 fights in, man. I'm 2-0. If I can get to 4, 5, 6-0, man, if I can get to that, man, I wouldn't even doubt. Like they're like, hey, yo, short notice fight for the UFC or contender series or looking for a fight. I have a goal in my mind. I'm 23. By 25, I want to be in the UFC. Like that's my goal. I don't want to rush it. I've been patient. I've been doing this since I was 12. I know what this game is. I'm a kid that's still young, that's 23, but I'm a vet in the game. You know what I mean? I know this game from top to bottom. I know this because I've been training forever. I got 2 older brothers. My brother has been in UFC, and he came out, but he'll be back. And we've been around the block, man. We've been around the world. Yeah. We've been around the States. We've been around this fight game for too long. I've seen amateur shows, professional shows, the biggest shows, the smallest shows, garage fights and everything. So it's like, I know this game. I know how it is. So I know people get into the UFC too early. They get cut, and it's like, my career over, or like people who are waiting. Like, for example, Yuri Prohaska. Look at that guy. How old is he? 31? Dude waited.
Right, but he's in his prime.
And they gave him the offer. Hey, you'll come in the UFC like 4 years ago. He said, no, I'm good. Now he's here. He won 2 or 3 fights. He's fighting for the belt. It's like,
yep,
that's a smart man. It's like, however your career goes is all different. For me, And I always say this, but like whatever God wills and what's gonna happen is gonna happen. For me, what I want to happen is I want to get 3-4 fights in. If this fight doesn't happen on Friday, it's just part of God's plan for me. Maybe this is a fight that I should not be taking. Maybe there's a reason I'm not fighting on Friday. Trying to look always on the bright side of that thing, but I'm in the prime of my shape right now. But I'm telling you, I was 192. I'm walking around like right now like 161, 160.
161. Okay.
So I'm just hovering. Right. I'm here. I'm waiting. I'm obviously trying to get down for this fight. I have to be 46, so that'll be terrible, but we'll see. And yeah, man, I'm ready to go. Like the good thing is like, even if I were to not like fight this Friday, it's like short notice fight. Sure, I'll take him. Especially because here, Coach Mark always says it. There's no such thing as camp here, and he's not wrong because every day feels like camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a hard grind every day, and you just
interesting. No such thing as camp. Yeah. It's a lifestyle.
As we make it like we still have camp. Like for me, I had a 4-week camp. You know what I mean? But in general, in reality, I was training like I was in camp for the last 4 or 5 months. So like. The thing is, here they love taking short notice fights. I don't know if you know who Josh Fremd is. He fought for LFA. He fought for the belt.
I don't.
I think he challenged for the belt. He's a 185er, and he was supposed to fight in like 6-7 weeks. They got an offer to fight Sunday, 2 days after me, and he took it. And they took it, and they're like, "This is a great opportunity in front of the Nelk boys and in front of Dana White, looking for a fight." At FAC. So They take it. They're like, "We're ready. Let's do it." So I'm just like, man, they're ready to go. And it's not the first guy at the gym that took a short notice fight.
Okay.
So it's
if you're in shape, it makes sense.
Yeah, they throw you in there. They're like, "You've been training. We've been giving you rounds in the cage. What's your weight?" Okay, we're gonna tell you, yeah, let's do this. And you obviously have the option back now, Coach. I don't want to, but they're there to obviously help your career. If they think it's a great career move, they're going to do it. But like I said, they're not going to throw you into a shark pool when you feel like you haven't been training. They don't do that,
Nice. These coaches are really assessing everything. They're really doing the best they can for you. Good.
I didn't come in at 192 and they said, "Okay, we're going to give you 6 weeks. You're going to find 6 weeks." I'm like, "Oh, man." No, they said, "Get your big ass down and wait, and then we'll find you a fight." I'm like, "All right, I'm here training. Don't worry. I'll be here every day." It was just consistent training to get my weight down. And that's the thing. And that's the thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was still riding in the 70s, and I'm like, okay, let me get a little leaner before I find a fight. And they're like, 4 weeks. I was like, oh shit, okay, it's going down for real. Let's do this,
Nice,
so
man.
That's what happened with this fight. But like I said, man, I would 3-4 fights would be awesome. I want to get one in before Ramadan, and hopefully I should be able to get one in before. If it's not this one, another one.
Okay.
And after that, would it be April? It would be May. So. From May all the way till December, man, we got 2, 3, 4 fights. I could do that. You know what I mean? I'm ready to go here. I'm consistently light. I'm consistently training. So let's get it. You know what I mean?
Beautiful, Motaz. Dude, I think the future is obviously really bright for you. I'm a big fan of yours, and I'm always hyping you up. So I feel like it makes a lot of sense for you to be, living out there the fighter lifestyle, really committing yourself to it. Yeah. That's beautiful to hear, brother. Let's plug your brother's fight. So he's the co-main event. Motaz, tell everybody at home why on Friday they should turn on LFA to watch Askar fight.
You better tune in on that Friday to watch LFA, because Askar's about to be on SportsCenter top 10. You know what I mean? He's about to do work to this guy. He's about to show this work. And man, I think it's the best matchup for Askar. Honestly, this is gonna be like a fireworks show, one-sided. Not both sides, one-sided. Askar's gonna come at this boy, and it's gonna be a good time. Good time for me and my family.
Nice, sadly, man. He's right at the top. He's right at the top of the game. He's knocking on the door of the UFC. He's right there. Big fight for your brother. I am so looking forward to that, man. I will definitely be watching. I hope everybody does the exact same. Motaz, before I let you go, leave us with something. I got your Instagram right there. Izzo145.
Yes,
not
sir.
Izzo190.
No. 192 maybe a few months ago, but now it's 145. I think it is Izzo 145. Yeah, something like that.
Where else can we find you? How can we keep up with the rising star, the youngest of the 3 Askar brothers. Do you put any video blogs out? What do we got? Can we play you on, like, what are you playing nowadays? Your brothers love the PS4, love the Xbox, right? Can we go play you online?
I mean, hey, listen, I used to be all up on games playing Call of Duty. It was part of the reason I didn't fight, because I was so addicted to that game. Slowly getting off the games, but I'm always on Instagram. I'm always posting about my stuff all the time.
Right.
Like, when my people, they always tell me, like, hey, when am I gonna fight? I'm like, follow me on Instagram. You'll know when I'm gonna fight. I got, like you said, Izzo, IZZOO 145. I got Twitter. I use it sometimes, but I do put my stuff sometimes on my Facebook too. Twitter is Motaz A145, and then Facebook is just my name. I put all my stuff on Instagram and Facebook mostly, and then TikTok too. I mean, I'm not really big on TikTok. I used to be during COVID when I was a heavy boy, but like, I put my fighting stuff on there now, just to like spread, like, hey, yo, this is what I do. You want to see me knock some people down, knock some people out? Check out my TikTok. I think my TikTok. I'm not sure exactly what give me 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll entertain everybody while you look, because I had to make one. Like, I feel like I'm too old for TikTok. I feel like I missed it, but I made one, and it's pretty much just to like and comment on my wife's stuff. She's like killing it. Haley's getting 10,000 views, and like she's going for it, bro. You got to follow Haley on TikTok.
Everyone follow Haley. That's what you got to do. You know, but my TikTok is 045. That's what it is. But it's just me putting up clips of like some of the fights I had in the past, and I'm gonna keep putting more on when I get these fights in, So, perfect. Yeah, man.
I love it. Motaz, it is good to see you, brother. I genuinely care what you are up to, and it's so good to see you in a good place, physically, mentally, all of the above. You know it's all love over here. You know you got a home. Every single time you're going to fight, we got to hype the fight. And after you win the fight, I got to go talk to my boy. So I hope to see you back very soon, brother.
You're my brother. I got 3 brothers. You're my 4th brother. Just know that. Mikey's the man. I love you, Mike. You're the man.
Inducted. There it is. Inducted as a brother. Thank you, Motaz. Everybody, keep up with Motaz Askar, and we will see you right back here on the spotlight. This is the Mike Finch Show.